but first I'd like to play a 30-second clip. Which basically shows you a bit about what mainstream perception is of cryptocurrencies like.
Go on, I know. I have my Bitcoin here. My dad told me to put it in stock exchange so I can make profit out of it. Well, that's fantastic. Well, it's my decision, young man. We can put that Bitcoin in Cryptid, then exchange it into ATC, we're investing aliens in Bitcoins again in Metgox, and it's gone. And what? It's gone. It's all gone. What is gone? The Bitcoin in Metgox didn't do too well. It's gone. But I do have one Bitcoin. Nothing more to do.
So basically, when you look at this, you look at mainstream media's approach to Bitcoin, it basically refers to, right, you've got nothing that you're passing on in exchange of, currency or something, a medium of exchange as value. And then you use that nothing, and it's not surprising then that some people think that Bitcoin is then stolen or lost, or all of the above, leaving you with nothing anyway. So regulators conclude from this sort of very simplistic approach that one important characteristic of cryptocurrency is its lack of intrinsic value. That just came out today from the Texas Department of Banking memorandum on what Bitcoin actually is in terms of definition itself. So let me show you why this is not quite right. So this is a guy in the Ukraine that was trying to raise some money for one of the purposes. So if I then try to give that Ukrainian guy $1, I actually can't do it, right? But with Bitcoin you can. You can scan that QR code right now, and within seconds you can basically send money or currency or Bitcoins directly to that guy. And through this, you understand that Bitcoin is three different things. It is a network, it is a protocol, but it is also a unit of account. And its intrinsic value, once you compare that, if you add all of these things together, the intrinsic value itself becomes all three of them together in the way that it is used. So here, in terms of the legal interpretation of Bitcoin and decentralized cryptocurrencies, here's some high-level sort of interpretation. So the IRS notice 2014-21 says for federal tax purposes, virtual currency is treated as property. Okay. FinCEN, which is the Financial Crimes and Enforcement Network, basically came out and said convertible virtual currency. Bitcoin is convertible virtual currency, which is not real currency. Right, so virtual currency is not real currency, fine. And in Texas here, in SEC v. Shavers in 2013, last year, the magistrate judge basically decided, one of these ratio was, Bitcoin is a currency or form of money. So right here you have different interpretation of actually what Bitcoin is. So let's just go, because Bitcoin is a global phenomenon, let's just go overseas. Germany and England. Germany considers Bitcoins and decentralized currencies as private money. England had a different approach. England said, well, cryptocurrencies, the way that Bitcoin is formed, is really a voucher. And that didn't last long at all. It lasted a few months because it was too hard in terms of a tax position to actually have Bitcoin as a voucher. So they basically went back on their word, actually last month, and said that, well, it looks pretty much like a de facto private money or private currency. Whereas in Finland, it is a commodity. And in Australia, really, they haven't really made up their mind as to what it is. They're probably waiting on whatever else everyone is doing. But it's very likely to be a medium of exchange similar to certain kinds of currencies. So the main thing, one of the, well, I'll probably come back to this. So today, the Texas Department of Banking came out and said, because decentralized virtual currency are coins or paper money, are not coins or paper money, certainly not. Coins or paper money issued by government of a country, they cannot be considered currencies under the finance code. So the main thing to keep in mind here is that decentralized currencies or virtual currencies or whatever, all the interpretation of different or various legislative bodies say it is that if it is not at law a currency that has been issued by a country and considered legal tender in that country, then it is very unlikely to be a currency at law. Right? It can be, as you can see, sort of virtual currencies, convertible virtual currencies, money, whatever these interpretations come out. So, but let me be clear about one thing though. It doesn't matter whether there's different restrictions because they can all coexist in the same place under the regulatory scheme. For example, just give you a quick example. If I have a Coke bottle, for example, I can use this to drink, and obviously there's consumer protection laws there to make sure that whatever goes into the bottle is suitable for an ethical purpose. But if I break that bottle and use it as a weapon, then the criminal code does apply. So there's different purposes that can be applied depending on the use of the underlying object. So what are the implications of these interpretations? We can't go into all of it, so I just chose one which was released today by the Texas Department of Banking. So what they've said is that exchange of virtual currency for sovereign currency is not currency exchange and may not be money transmission. And all this has, I suppose, a basis in terms of the definition of the currency itself. So there's only one relevant test here under state, according to what the Texas Department of Banking has said, and that is there a promise by an intermediary to make sovereign currency available to the seller? I'll give you an example. I've got $100 and I put it into a Bitcoin ATM. If that Bitcoin ATM then turns around and says, okay, no problem, I've got your $100 and goes to, say, Bitstamp and purchases the currency from Bitstamp to pass on to me, there's an intermediary, there's somebody in the middle. And for that, you need a money transmission license. However, the difference is, if I've got $100 and put it into the ATM, and the operator of the ATM himself, whoever, actually holds the coin and just simply gives me the coin from his own account, then there is no money transmission license required in Texas. So the Texas definition, I suppose, is almost this. If you have somebody standing in between you and a third party and conducting transaction on your behalf, then you will be caught by the finance code, and therefore a license will have to be issued to you before you start transacting in that way. So the way forward here, one thing I'd like to say is the Texas definition is kind of different to the federal definition. So not only do you have to comply with Texas law, but you also have to make sure that the federal law also complied with. And one of the, FinCEN is the one that looks at money transmissions and licenses being issued on the federal level. So, and FinCEN's definition basically says if you're an exchanger of convertible currencies, virtual currencies, that buys or sells convertible virtual currency in exchange for legal tender, then you are caught. So their definition is a lot broader than the one that came out today from Texas. So the way forward, as I said before, the decentralized ledger that achieves consensus for cryptocurrencies can do way, way more than just its application as a currency. In fact, if you look at the first point here, and I think Kevin had pretty much the same slide, but if you look at the first point here, that's currency. This is what we're talking about. And I've been talking about this for about 8 minutes now, but currency, it's only about the first one. So all of these applications have some distinct legal issues, but some distinct legal applications that will have to come out of the woodwork. And right now, we've only concentrated on the first point. This shows you how massive in terms of what the blockchain that is going to happen over the course of the, the next few years. And that really has led to a couple of really weird situations. One of the situations is, for example, the IRS ruling regarding the property. I was at a bar the other day, and people came up to me talking about IRS legislation. Now, this is really odd. People don't talk about IRS legislation. People don't talk about tax law. And suddenly, in a social environment, you start getting a lot of people asking about, hey, what's going on with this? I mean, even tax lawyers don't want to talk about tax law sometimes, right? So what is happening here is you've got mainstream people just coming out and just auditing how the IRS does its job. And that's really never happened before. They are, in fact, becoming de facto lawyers trying to find out the rules and regulations and what actually applies. So, in effect, one of the funniest things that came out of it was one person that basically came up and said, right, so the IRS wants to consider it property, which basically means I have to track my capital gains over, the payments that I made throughout the time that I owned that currency, just to determine whether I've bought low and I've sold high and what sort of percentage of taxes apply. And what that ends up being is a huge sort of, compliance paperwork that will probably have to be held by the person and given to the IRS. So the funny situation arises in this way, where all of these people using Bitcoins have about volumes of complying documentation that they give to the IRS and say, right, let's see how good you are now. Right? And that's really the audit that's happening at the moment. People are auditing tax law legislation as to how this applies. And the second thing is, due to the growth, the speed of growth and innovation in this space, what we're seeing one of the, probably in my lifetime anyway, one of the greatest migration of human capital resources into a place that is growing so quickly that regulators trying to regulate currency today are going to find that they're going to have a bit of a shock, because ultimately, once those regulations come in, somebody else will have found a way to actually go around this using a decentralized, sort of technology. And what happens is, certainly, I have always this picture in my head in terms of how regulators work, and they're trying to regulate each step that people actually make, so that each step is regulated for consumer protection and the like. And what's happening at the moment is the regulator is still walking, and Bitcoiners have jumped into a jet plane out, and they're still trying to catch up. And that causes some really interesting dilemma for the regulators as to, right, well, if we're regulating this at this point, then it doesn't mean anything further on down the road, so we'll have to change again, and I suspect it will have to change again. I'm sharing this time with my colleague Austin Brister, and in conclusion, I suppose one of the things is that when you use Bitcoin or similar type decentralized currency, you have to look at its use first in order to determine what sort of legislation would apply to your particular case. So it's a use case. There's so many, we can keep going. There's so many different uses that you can do that regulation would apply to. So I hope that you've had a quick glimpse of some of the legal challenges in terms of the interpretation of decentralized currencies and and also the future as to what needs to be done in order to make sure that population, like mainstream, actually know their role and consumer protection and the like. So thank you very much.